Hello, namaste, and welcome back, friends. This is the dose 2 of 101 doses of React Native, and today we are going to learn what is React Native, what is React, what are core components, and how to create reusable components so we can reuse that in our app again and again. We are also going to start learning to create layouts of our mobile application design. Okay, and finally how to style those layouts to make our apps beautiful. After learning this, we are going to start our first application. It's going to be small, but it will give you enough knowledge that you can build your own first app. Okay, so to practice, I'm going to give you a small task, so whatever you have learned in this video, you can apply that and test your knowledge. Okay, so stick till the end of the video. So if you are ready, let's learn. First, what is React Native? So React Native is an open source framework for building Android and iOS applications. Okay, and it uses React and platform native capabilities. Okay, so the native capabilities of a Android device or an iOS device, it use those capabilities using the platform APIs. Okay, and it also describes the appearance and behavior of the UI using React components. Okay, so basically React Native use the power of React and it communicate with the native platform using the platform APIs and tell that how the app UI should look, how that app UI should behave, when a button will click, what will happen. So all these things are done by React Native by using React and platform APIs. Okay. Now, if you are new to React, you might be thinking, what is React? And in simple language, again, React is an open source library for building user interface with JavaScript. So basically, when we use React with React DOM, we can build web applications. Similar way, when we use React with React Native, we are able to create mobile application. Okay, so React have some core capabilities which we can use to build our applications. And those 4 core capabilities are components, JSX, props, and state. Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, what is components? Let me give you an example of components. So here, this is the project which we are going to create today. So here we can see a header. I will change the color. A header, a card, right? And in that card we have a image and a title and some text, right? So when we build React applications, we have to think in the way of components. Okay, so in normal life, you can see we can assemble a computer by bringing the different components like RAM, motherboard, CPU. Similar way, here to build an app, we can create different components like a header, a card component, and in card component maybe a card header, card content component, right? And by bringing these components together, we can create an app. Okay, now what is JSX? So let me show you some React Native code. Okay, so for that I will go to Expo Snack. So let me tell you about Snack. Snack is a web editor where you can write some React Native code. Also, you can practice if you want using React Native. So you can say it's kind of a React Native playground. Okay. And here you can see there are some code which is written over here. So what I'm going to do, I will copy this. Okay. And I will open Babel. So Babel is a compiler which compiles our React or React Native code into JavaScript. Okay. So let's click over here and let me paste it here. Okay. And you can see the code over here, which is quite complicated to read. And if we don't use JSX, then we need to write this kind of code. Okay. So JSX is JavaScript XML, which allow us to write our code in a simple manner using tags like these, like text tag, card tag. Okay. So we will learn more about JSX once we start writing code. And after that, we have props. So now props are kind of, it help us to communicate with one component with another. Okay. So using props, you can pass data from one component to other component. Second, states. So there are two kind of states. One is component level state, one is app level state. And what is state? The job of state is to maintain the data which is required for a particular component. Okay. And we will learn more about states once we start writing code. So these are four important core concepts which we must know of React before start writing the code. And I hope now you might have understand what is React. Okay. And React Native, with React, we can build mobile applications. I hope you have understand. And even if you are not able to understand what is React or React Native, don't worry. When we start practical, we will repeat these theory again and it will help you to understand when we will do more practical. Okay. Because sometimes we don't understand the theory, but once we start practical, we can understand more. Same happens with me. I like practical more than the theory. Now we know what is React. Now, as I told you before, that React works with React Native to build mobile applications. So what React Native provides? So basically, React Native provides core components. Okay. What are these core components? To understand this, first we need to know that in Android and iOS development, a view is the basic building block of a UI. Okay. So let me show you a diagram. Now, in this diagram, we can see there are two devices. One is iOS and one is Android. Okay. And we have a card component over here. Okay. And these are reused multiple times. And to create this card component, Android is using a view group. Inside that view group, we have a text view which is displaying this text and an image view to display this image. Similarly, in iOS, we have a UI view. To display some text, we have a UI text view, and display some image, we have a UI image view. Okay, so as I was telling you that view is a basic building block of a UI. These are smaller rectangular elements on the screen which we can use to display text, images, or respond to user input. Even the smallest elements of an app, like a line, a text, or a button, are kind of views. Some kind of views can contain other views. Okay, like here you can see view group contains text view and image view. Okay, so in an Android and iOS app, everything is a view. And to write this view, in Android we use Kotlin or Java. In iOS we use Objective-C or Swift. But with React Native, we can invoke these views or we can use these views using JavaScript. And JavaScript use React components. Okay. At the runtime, React Native create and communicate with Android and iOS views for these components, because React Native components are backed by the same views as Android and iOS. That's why the React Native apps look, feel, and perform like other native applications. And that's why React Native comes with a set of essential ready to use native components which we can use to start building our applications. Okay, here we have some examples like view, and when it renders on Android, it's become view group, and on iOS it become UI view. And now React Native also supports web and also supports desktop applications, but example is not over here, but web application is here, which is a div. So view is kind of a div in HTML. Okay, for text we use text view, in iOS we use UI text view, and in web we use p tag. And for image, we have image view, UI image view, and img in web. For scroll view, in Android, it's similar. In iOS, it is UI scroll view, and in dev, it's become div. Okay. And in text input, it is edit text, and you can see the more. So there are many other core components which we have in React Native. So let me show you those quickly. So let's open the website of React Native. Okay, and let's go to components. And here you can see these are few list of components, and React Native provide all these components ready to use to build our application. And mostly we are going to use view, text input in each and every app. Okay, and others are button, switch, list view, and also there are community created components which are available freely on internet, which whenever we need any other component which is not available over here, we can search for those on internet, and many such components freely available. So React Native has a pretty strong community which are building these core components for us. So what basically we do is we use these components and create a React component. Okay, and we can reuse those React component in our app whenever it is required. So now we are going to talk about reusable components in React Native. To create a reusable component, there are 3 steps which we must follow. One is to import the components from React Native and React Native or any other library. So it depends that what kind of component we want to create. After that, we create a function which returns some JSX. Okay, and finally we need to export that function so we can reuse that function in other components. And all these 3 steps I'm going to show you in a code editor. Okay, so now we are going to start coding. Now let me open the command line, and here we will go into our Expo folder which we create yesterday, which is I think in practice Expo, and here I will say npx create Expo app at latest -t, and we are going to use blank for JavaScript project, and I will give you first app Okay, now everything is installed. Now we will go into the project folder. I will open the code editor. And for now, we will keep our project same and not going to install the Expo router. We'll do it later when we need the router, when we'll create our project at that time. For now, let's clear this and run the project. Okay. So if you don't remember this, you can always go to package.json, and in scripts, you can see how to start the project. So we can say npm run start to start the project. If you want to start your project in Android directly, you can say npm run Android, and it's going to start the project and open the Android emulator as well. Okay. So our project is started, and now here I can press A and okay, it's not opening, so I'm going to open it manually using the extension which I shown you yesterday in the previous video. I will click here, and it's going to open the emulator. And if you are on mobile, you can install the Expo Go app from your Play Store, and you can scan this QR code and the app will be open into your Expo Go app. Okay. So I will click over here and I will try to put the URL manually over here and paste connect. So now our app is started successfully, and we can see this text on our mobile device. Okay. Now we were talking about the reusable component in React Native. Okay. So let's try to follow these steps and create a reusable component in React Native. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder called src. Here we are going to put all our code, and inside this I'm going to create a folder called components. Okay, and I will create one more folder called hooks. Don't worry about this hooks right now. We are going to talk more about hooks later. But for now, let's get into components. Click here and click on a new file and create a new file, and let's call it header.js, and I will use our shortcut React Native functional component. Okay. Or I will just remove this and let's follow those steps one by one. So first step is to import required libraries. Create a function that returns JSX. Correct. And finally, export the as default. Okay. It is not required that every time we export it as default, we can name export it as well. And I'm going to show you that different as well. So here first, we are going to import something from React Native library. Okay. So what will be that something? What we need? We need to suppose we need to display some text. Okay. So we are going to import a core component which is text provided by React Native. After that, we are going to create our function. We can create our function using function and function name, right? Or we can use arrow functions, and I will say header and equals, you know how to create an arrow function. Okay, and then we need to return some JSX. return text view, and here I will say header. Okay. Once I return this, I need to export it. Export default header. Okay. And now if I save this, you can see there is no changes. Okay. Because React Native will not use this component until you tell where to use that. Okay. So basically we are going to use it into our app.js because this is our entry file for React Native. So initially always React Native is going to check this file, and whatever the components imported over here, it's going to display that on the screen. Okay. So what I will do, I will just remove this from here and I will import it. Import header from, and we will use a relative path. So I will say dot slash, and we will go into src. Inside src we have components folder. Inside component we have a header file, and we don't have to give the extension which is .js. Okay. So now we can use this component here as a tag, header slash. Okay. And if I save this, and now you can see, we can see the text which we created into this component. Okay. Now how to make this reusable? So let me quickly save this. Okay. I removed those comments. Now how to make this reusable? So I told you 4 important concepts of React. One is components. So we can create components and we can reuse those components multiple times. And if I save this, you can see 4 headers. Okay. But how we can make this reusable component? Suppose I want to show some other text into header. Right now header is just displaying the header text, but I want to display some other text. How we can do that? We can do that by communicating from this component to header that I want to display some text. And how we can communicate? As I told you, we have props to make the communication from one component to other component. Okay. So we can create a prop. I can say title equals to what we want to show there. Suppose my app. Okay. Now this will work automatically? No. How we need to tell that we are passing a prop from the app component? By getting the props here in the arguments. We can say props. Okay. And here we can say props dot title. Why? Because we are passing this title from here. Okay. And let me save this, and you can see my app. Now suppose I want to pass some other text. Suppose some other title like first app. Save. And now you can see we are reusing that component and passing some other different text, and it is displaying that text over here. Okay. And we can create multiple props like subtitle equals to awesome app. Okay. And now I will copy this prop, and here right now we are passing only one text, so I can pass multiple text from here. Okay. And as you can see, if we try to return this, first we need to remove this because it is not ending over here, and still it is showing me red. But let me try this. Subtitle. Okay, and let me save it. Now it is throwing an error. Now there is very important rule which we need to keep in mind whenever we are returning some JSX, that we can only return a single JSX tag. Okay, we can't return multiple JSX like this. And how we can do that? How we can make this a single JSX tag? By using something called fragment. Okay, and now if I save this, it is working fine, right? Also, we can use view. As I told you, view is kind of a div in React. So I can press view over here and we will get the same result. Okay, so I hope now you learned how to create a component by importing some core components which we need in that particular component. After that, creating a function and exporting that function. Only these three steps will only create a function, but to use that component, we must import that component in some other component, and we can then use that component as a tag. Okay, and we can also pass some props to communicate or display different kind of data using that component. Okay, next we can also pass nested components into a component. Okay, now you might be thinking, okay, what is the nested component? So let me remove this from here and we can use, let me keep this as it is, and props dot children, and save this. Once we do this, we can remove this and create a open and close tag for header. Okay, I will remove this for now, and we can pass some text. Okay, this is my app. Okay, just passing some text and save this. Okay, now you can see we can pass some other components also inside header using children's. Okay, so using props, we cannot only pass the data but also other components, like we are passing this text component from here. Okay, if I multiply this, a message, you can see it is also working. So that's the beauty of props. This way we can pass components and data into other components to display the components and text on our application, and this way we can build beautiful applications. So right now we are just creating some text and passing some data, but I hope now you understand what is component, how we can make those components reusable, how to use props, how to use children's, and how you can write JSX. Now it's pretty boring by just showing some text on the mobile application. It's time to build a project and create something which could be more beautiful than this. Okay, so let me close this. Presentation time is over. Now we are going to open Figma. Okay, so this is our project wireframe. We can say that what we are going to build, just to get an idea. So basically we are going to create a list of posts. Okay, you can say it's kind of a blog application which will have a title and some text. Okay, at the top we have the screen title, which is my feed. We will have a image of the user, and then we will have multiple cards, and this card will have a image, a title, and some text. Okay, this way we will have multiple cards. When user click on this card, we will open this new screen where we are going to show the blog. Okay, and if user click on the username, we will show this username screen. Okay, so here is the deal. I'm going to create this and this, and this one is a homework for you. Okay, so you will see how I'm going to build these two screens. Using the same knowledge, you can create this screen and try to implement whatever you are going to learn from here. Okay, so deal, let's start coding the screens. Okay, so we are going to start designing these screens. Okay, and how we can do that? Now you can see we have a screen with header, these cards, and these cards have some text. Okay, so let's plan how we are going to design this screen. Okay, so as I told you that we create separate components and bring those components to create a screen. Okay, so we will do the same here. We'll create these components separately. Okay, and we will bring this component on the screen and reuse few of these components. Okay, so let's choose some other color now, maybe yellow. Okay, so what are the components you can see in this screen? So first component I can see is a header. Okay, this header will have some text and a image of the user. The second component I can see is this card. This card will have two components. One is the card header, which is having again a avatar and some text, and then card content. Okay, so we have these two components inside card component. And do we have to create these cards again? As you can see, the design of the cards are similar, right? So we can reuse this component to show these cards again, right? So these will be the reusable component. We don't have to create each component separate. Okay, one more component is there. Can you tell me? Yes, correct. So the most important component will be this screen on which we are going to bring all these other components, and this screen is going to show these components. Okay, so first we will have this component, and then we will bring these components together to create the design of this screen. Okay, so let's start coding. So before starting, let me create one more folder called screens. Okay, and in the screen we are going to create our home screen component. Okay, and I will use React Native functional component with style. Okay, now if you don't remember where this shortcut is coming from, I guess I told you in the last video that I have installed an extension ES7 some. So this is the one, ES7 React Redux React Native snippets. Okay, using this, if you install this, you just have to type the shortcut React Native functional export with style, this will create this component. Okay, now this component is created. Okay, also we are exporting this. I like to export from at the end, that's why I bring this down. And let's show this text on the screen, and that's why we will remove everything from here, and I will bring home screen. Okay, so what I did is I just type and enter, and this home screen is imported automatically. Or you can type this and control space on your keyboard, and it will show you that component with the path, and you can press enter and that will be import. Else you can type. Sometimes code editor don't show that component or not able to find that component, that's why you need to do it manually. So you can type import component name and the path where the component is located, and you can import that. Okay, now header is not there, so I will remove this and I will save it. Okay, now you can see home screen, it is showing at the top left corner. Cool. Now home screen is created. Let's go back. Now we need two other components. One is header and card, right? For header, we already created this, so we can use this. So I will remove this. Also, I think we will not require any prop for now. And I will say text, and the text is my feed. Okay, and after that we will have an image. And for now, what I will do, I will just say avatar over here for the image. Okay, and now what we have decided that will bring all the components into on the screen, right? So I will import the header from here to here. So what I will do, I will just type it here, and right now this is showing the component and path is correct. So I will press enter and it will automatically import that component for me from components slash header. Okay, it is using the relative path. If you are not familiar with Linux path, which is relative and absolute path, then it might be a little bit confusing. So let me explain you quickly. So basically, when we say dot dot, it is, so this home screen is here, okay, inside the screens folder, right? And the header component is inside the component folder. So to get this component, we have to go one step back. That's why it is dot dot, one step back, which is the parent folder, which is src is the parent folder. That's why dot dot, one step back, and there we will go inside components, and inside component we will find header. Okay, that's why this is the path. I hope this explains you absolute path and relative path. Right now, I just explain you the relative path using this. Whenever we are using the absolute path, it don't use dot. It always you start with slash. And whenever we are giving slash, that means the top level directory. After inside top level directory, we have src folder, then screens. Okay. Now, as we can see, header is also showing, and the text we have home screen is also showing, and both the components, home screen as well as the header component, is showing on the screen. Now we will start with our header.js. Okay, And first of all, what I will do is going to create the style sheet. Okay. And it is showing me error because style sheet is not imported. So we need to import that. Once we import the style sheet, we can create our styles inside this folder as objects. Okay. And so first, let's see where is our header. Okay. So what I am going to do is here in view, whenever we want to apply some style, we have to use a prop called style. And here we can get the styles which we write inside the styles configuration object. Okay. So I can say styles dot container. But right now we don't have any style name container inside. So I have to create that container. Okay. And for now, we will start with border width 1. Okay. And let me save this. So once we save, we can see a border around our header. Okay. Which is stretched till here. Okay. So before start styling our header, let's talk about the styles in React Native. And to apply this style, we have to create a configuration object and we can write our styles inside by creating such objects and name those objects, and we have to use those objects wherever we want to apply that style, right? As you can see, we have inside style, we have created this object container, and to apply this style, we uses this prop styles equals to styles dot container, and this style is applied on the header. Now you might be thinking, what is styles? Okay, so previously styles was used for validation of styles. So in case if you write something which is not available in styles and you save that, it initially used to give some error, but now in the newer version you can't see any error. So whenever you write some styles, you must cross check or keep in mind that whatever the keys you are giving for the style, it is available, else that will not affect your style. Now if I save with the correct value, correct key, I can see the border is showing. So right now, if you don't even use this and save this, you can see the style is applied. So what is the use of style sheet? So basically, if you apply your styles without using style sheets, your styles will be sent to the native platform as text. Okay, like the same kind of style. But if we use styles, React Native going to compile this into numbers and that will be sent to the native platform. And that's why it's improved the performance of your app. And that's why it is suggested to use styles. Okay, so it is simple. You just have to import this and then you can say style sheet dot create, and inside that you can apply your styles into object. Okay, so if you know CSS, you can mostly use CSS attributes here. Okay, like border width in CSS, we supposed to use it, write it like this, border dash width, but here we use camel case. Okay, so that's the only difference. Most of the CSS attributes are used in React Native also, and you can check the documentation in case you are looking for some attributes which are supported or not. You can check the documentation. There you will find the list of style attributes which you can use in React Native. Okay, now let's get back to our design. we need feeds and avatar to be side by side. Okay, not as a column but as a row. So what we can do, we can use Flexbox values to style our layout. Okay, and to bring it as a row, we have to use flex direction and to row. Okay, and save this. Now you can see it came side by side. We also need some space in between, and we want these to be on the opposite side of each other. Okay, so for that we can use justify content and space. We have space around, space between, and space evenly, but we need space between. And I will save this. Now you can see both are opposite direction of each other. Finally, we also need some space. We don't want it to be touching the edge of the screens. So I can give some padding. So I have to do padding left and maybe 16, and padding right to be 16. Okay, now you can see we have some space from left and right, but we have a shortcut which is padding horizontal to 16, which will give our padding from left and right. Okay, now saved, you can see we have the same result. Okay, I also want to give some padding from top and bottom, and for that again we can use padding top, padding bottom, or we can use padding vertical, and I want to give 8, and I think this is good enough. Okay, now we styled our container which is containing these two text. Let's style our screen title as style equals to styles dot maybe title. Okay, we don't want to style this because anyways we are going to use the image tag to show an image over here. So I will give a comma and then title, and I will give font size to 24 and font width to be bold. Okay, and now if I save, you can see the size is increased, but it is not font width, it is font weight. Font weight to be bold. Now if I save this, now it is bold. Okay, I think I will keep this, or let's try with 18. I think 24 is better. Let's keep it. Okay, now one more thing, you can see our feed is here, avatar is going up. Okay, it's not in a line. So to bring this in a line, we can use align items to, so we have baseline. If we give baseline and save this, you can see it is aligning it from the base. If we use flex end, it's kind of similar to the base, and we have flex start which will align it from the top, and we have center and we need center. Okay, now it is centered. Okay, so whenever you will apply some Flexbox style and you want to position your elements, always think where you have to give that style. Okay, right now we want to align these two. That's why I am applying all my styles like flex direction and padding or justify content, align items to the parent element. Okay, and I like to bring all the flex styles together. Okay, and this should be here. Let's save this. And I think right now we don't need the border, so I can remove this. Okay, now it is looking much clear. You can also inspect. Sometimes our style get messed up and we are not getting that which style is coming from where. In that case, you can use Control M on Windows or Command M on Mac and show element inspector, and you can click the element and it will show you all the paddings and the style which is applied. So here you can see we have given these padding 1616. There is no margin but padding from top and bottom and left and right. Okay, which is 8 and right. And if we click here, you can see there is no style, and here we have this style. Okay, so that is how you can inspect the element in React Native. Okay, now we don't need this, so I will again Control M and hide the inspect element. Okay, now our header is kind of looking good. Now let's create the avatar, the image, and you can see this image. Let me change the color. This image and this image and this image size is kind of similar. So we don't want to create three different images for these three different components. What we are going to do, we are going to create image component, or you will say avatar component, and we will reuse that everywhere, wherever we want that. Okay. So let's create a new component. Inside components, I will create a file called avatar.js. So again, to create a component which have image, we must import a image core component. We will also need view, and I think we will not need anything else. Now we will create our export default function, and I will name it avatar. Okay, so we can export it like this as well. Export default function name. Now we don't have to do the export default from the bottom. And from here, we are going to return view, or directly we will try to return an image. Okay, it is self closed, and image take a prop called source. In the source, if our image is coming from some URL, then we have to create an object, and here we can give URI, okay, and the image path. So right now I will just search for some image. Okay, so we have free avatar. Okay, and we can use it like this. So let's try this, and I will save this. Okay, so we are not able to see anything. because we need to import it from header. So I will remove this and I will import the avatar from avatar component. Here it is imported, and now I will save this, and we can't see anything. Why? Because we have given the image, but it also needs some height and width. For that, we are going to use style. Style equals to, let's start with some inline style. I will give height 100 and save it. Okay, now we can see the image. Let's create our style object using style sheet, and here I will say container, and I will just cut it from here and use the same over here and give you styles.container and save this. Okay, I forgot to import the style sheet, so let's import it quickly from React Native. So again, to import it like this, we have at the end we can use control space and it will show you the list of suggestions. From there you should select the right one. Okay, now it is imported. Now we know that our avatar is round, so I will use border radius 250. Okay, also the image is too large, so I think let's check with 50. 50. Okay, let's give some border width, so it will give the thickness of the border, and I think let's try 2. I forgot a comma, that's why it is showing me red line. Now it is saved. Not able to see anything because we need to give border width with border color, and I will say red. I forgot the comma again. Save. Now I'm able to see the border and it is looking fine. I think we can check with 4. Okay, this is much better. So let's decide some color as well, because right now we are just assuming some color. So let's use some good color scheme for our app. So I will search for color palette. So I think this will be good. And I don't like to use many colors. 3 or 4 are good enough. And I think let's go with this. So I will copy this. Okay. And I will use this here. I have to give hash for hexadecimal color. And if we see, we are getting something like this. Or let's check this. Let's try this with hash. Save it. Okay. This fine. Let's go with this. Now you can see that our code is not aligned properly, right? It is here even after save. If I right click and format doc, it is not doing much. So we will try Prettier. So I will create a new file Prettier rc.json. Okay, and I have some configuration available, so I will just copy that. Okay, so semicolon we need at the end, that is true. Now if I save this, and now if I try it here, now you can see it is automatically formatted. Okay, after creating this, we have to go to preference and settings. Here if I search for, here in configuration path, we have to provide the file name which we have created here. So I already provided this file name, that's why it is working. If after creating this file, Prettier is not working for you, it is not formatting the data on save, you can come here and give the file name. Okay, and on save, here format on save mode. So file, the file will be formatted on save. Format on save, you have to check this. Okay, so once you done that, your files will be auto formatted. Okay, so just a quick tip for you, if your code is looking messy, then you can try that. Next up, now if we want to use this colors, so what I will do is, I don't want to go back to this site again and again to copy paste the colors. Rather, I can create a file here in src root, maybe styles.js. Okay, and here I will export const colors equals to, okay, so we have primary, secondary, tertiary, so we don't need these many colors. Okay, but we will use few, I think 3 or 4 color will be okay. So let's remove this, and as we decided to use this, so I will copy this and change this to our primary color, change this to our secondary color, change this to our tertiary color, and change this to quaternary. Okay, save this. Now we have the color list. I think for fonts we will keep it dark, so, or I will say font color and black. So I will use this and I will click over here. So it is showing me, here is the, and I will choose some dark color around this. So I'm not using complete black, but something close to that. Okay, so I think this is fine. So quickly I will use this here. So what I will do, colors, and here we can use, first we need to import this, right? So it is showing me option again here, you can see. I will press enter and colors are imported. Now if I press dot, it is showing me font color, primary, secondary, quaternary. Let's use tertiary, and it little bit tongue twister for me. Okay, this is better. So we have our colors. Okay, and I think our header is good enough for now. We will keep 35 our avatar size, and this will be 2. Okay, this is much better because we also need cards, and in cards we want this to be smaller size in the size. So I think this is fine. Now next we have our cards over here which we need to create. Okay, now let's start creating the card. Before that, let me quickly change the font color for the header title, and in title I will use color, font color, and I think this is much better. Okay, in home screen I like to give a container and the background color to be colors dot, first I need to import it from, and then dot, it's secondary I guess. Yes, so I don't know if it is looking similar, maybe or maybe not. Once we create some cards on that, we will able to see the difference because our card will be pure white. Okay, and this is little bit creamish, that's why we are not able to see much difference. But let's start with the cards. Our header is ready. One more thing in header, I like to give vertical padding, maybe let's try 16. It will be, I think it is looking much clean, right? We have sufficient space from top and bottom now. So I think let's go with 16 for the padding. So vertical padding is basically for top and bottom padding. One more thing, I'm not sure if you guys are comfortable enough with the box model. If you don't know box model, let me quickly give you some details about it. Okay, and here if we click Control M and inspect, and let's inspect this box, our header box. Okay, so our box model is basically, first we have some content. So our content is here, this is our content, right, inside blue, and we have padding and margin. And always remember, whenever we are saying padding, padding is around the content. Okay, whatever content we have, it will be applied around that. And whenever we say margin, margin will be outside of the content or outside of the padding. Okay, so that is the difference between margin and padding. And right now you can see we have no padding over here. Okay, if we give some padding, it will have the padding which will distance other elements from this one. Okay, till now we didn't use any margin, that's why I'm not able to show you the example, but soon we are going to use some margins and you will able to understand the difference. Okay, I guess now you understand the box model. Basically, box model have content, padding and margin. So always remember, padding will be around your content and margin will be around your padding. If you don't have any padding, then it is kind of your margin will be around your content, and your margin will not show any color or border. Basically, whatever the border you are going to give, it will be on the content, and if you have padding, then it will be around the padding. Okay, and margin will be the blank space between other component and your component or your element. Okay, so let's quickly hide the inspect element, and to show you that, I can give a border width of 1 and save. Now you can see. So when we increase the padding, the border is now far away from the content, and if I give margin applied from all the four sides and I will say 16, now you can see we have some space around our header. Okay, so whenever we want some distance between two elements, we can use margin. Whenever we want some distance between your border and your content, we use padding. It is that simple to understand. Okay, so let me remove this quickly and let's start working our components. Now I'll create a new file called card.js and I will use the shortcut React Native functional export with styles. Okay, and it is saying card. Fine. Now we have some text, and this text we will use lorem for the text in the card, and we will import our avatar from avatar component. As you know that we are using that in header as well. Now if I save, there is nothing because we need to import that from the home screen, and here I will import card from component/card. Okay, and then rather than this text, I'm going to use card and save this, and you can see our avatar and the card content is showing over here. Now here I also want the username, so I will give text and I will say username. Okay, now username and text. Okay, let me bring the export at the end of the file and let's start styling. Now if you see in the card component, we know that our username is on the right hand side of the avatar, and then we have some text. Okay, so first what we will do, as usual, we are going to create our container, and this container we are going to apply it to styles equals to styles dot container. Okay, now our card is merged with the background. Okay, so let's show that as a separate component or separate from the background. So what we are going to do first is we will apply some background color, which will be white. Okay, still there is nothing to see, but it's fine. What I will do, I will go to home screen, and here we have applied the secondary color. Let's give a border width. Let's see where is our screen. How is it taking all the space, or till how much space on the screen our home screen is taking. Okay, but you can see I created this style and not applied, and that's why it is not showing me any border or anything. And I also made a spelling mistake over here, container, and let me quickly. So many times it could happen that we forgot to apply and we are just clueless that what is happening, why our style is not applied. So always look that did you add that style to your element, styles.container. And now you can see here is our card with the white background, and this is our header. We doesn't give any background color to our header, that's why it is showing the background color of the home screen. And till now our home screen is not covering the complete screen. And if you want to home screen to cover the complete screen, we can use Flex1. And when we apply this, now you can see it is taking all the space on this screen. Okay, So now slowly, once we start building this app, you will understand how Flex work. So let's go back to our card and style our card. Now first we want some space between our content and the edge of the box. So I will quickly give padding to 8. Okay, now it is looking somewhat better. Let's quickly give some border radius. Border radius to 6 maybe. Okay, we are not able to see anything. So what I will do, I will give border width to 1. Okay, now you can see we get some border radius from the corner. Okay, we also like to give some shadow, and for that I will search for React Native shadow generator. Okay, here we can see on Android it will look like this. So I will just quickly copy this and paste it over here and see how it is looking. Now we are getting some little bit of shadow, right? So basically on Android, to apply some shadow, we just need elevation and it will apply that shadow. And if we don't give these things, you can see it is still the same. Okay, we can give elevation to 10 to increase the shadow, and if we want less, then we can give 3, or I think we will go with 4. Okay, I don't know you are able to see that or not, but we can see a little bit of shadow over here. And if I remove the border now, it is we seen clearly that we got the shadow on our box. Okay, and I will increase the padding 10 to 12 maybe. Okay, now it is looking much better. But now we want our username to be on the right hand side of our image. So now we have to think that how we can do that. Okay, to bring our image and text in a row, you know that we have to apply flex direction to row, right? Which we have done for our header. But if you see, and if we save this, you can see our card content is also came into a row. So what we can do is we can create a new view. Okay, and we will put our image and the username inside this view, and I will remove this from here and I will create a new style, and we can say that card header. Okay, and here we can give flex direction to be row. Okay, now we have to apply this to the view, card header. Save this. Boom, now it is working, right? Now let's align. It is giving me some suggestions, so let me go one by one. Now we align it to center. We also need some space from the bottom, so we can say margin bottom to 12. Okay, now it is much better. We also need some space between these two cards, so we can use gap to be 12. Okay, you might have seen gap in the grid in CSS, but in React Native, gap is also available for Flexbox. Okay, now this is done. the text for our card is also looking better. Only I think we need to style our title, our username. So I will say style equals to styles dot name. Okay. And I will name some styles, like give the font size to be 16. Let's make it font weight to be bold. Okay, I don't need these things. Save this. And I will say color. So I will import the colors dot ab quantity. Save this. Okay. But our image border color is different and I want it to be same. So what we can do, we can pass the border color equals to colors dot quantity. Okay. And we know that we have to get this prop from here, like props, and in image now you can see that there's the border color here, but we can't pass this here, right? Because it is outside this function. So what we can do is we can create an array, and inside this we can pass it as a border color, and as the session is showing, props dot border color. Okay. And if I save this, you can see we get this color, but right now our color for our header is gone. Okay. So what we have to do is we can go back to the header and again pass the color, border color equals to colors dot tertiary. Okay. And now you can see we have a different color for our header and different color for our card. So that is cool. That's how prop give us power to reuse our component with different properties. Okay. Next up is, I think the text is okay. We don't have to give any style or to this. This is looking good enough. Now, I think this should not be touching the edge of our mobile screen. So we need some spacing from left and right. So I will go to home screen, and in home screen, we can apply padding horizontal to 16. Okay. But now our header is getting double padding, right? Because we already given some padding horizontal to this. So I will remove this from the header and save. Now it is showing in line. Okay. Also, I think our card should have some spacing, because if I go here and I create bunch of these cards, these all are closer to one another, and I want some spacing. So in container, I will give margin bottom to be 6 maybe. Let's see. Yeah, not good enough. Let's say 14. Yeah, this, I think I will go with 16. I don't like our content to be close to one another. Okay, I like some spacing, breathing space between those. This is good enough for now. Okay. Now what we have to do is, let's go back to the design and discuss. When a user will click this, we want to open a new screen. and show this content over there, right? For this, we have to install the router. Now it's time to install the router and use the router to allow us to navigate between the screens. Okay. Now there are few changes or big changes, you can say. So I will go to expo.dev because we are going to use the expo router. And here I will search for expo router, FAQ, install expo router. So we already installed the app. Now we have to copy these packages and we need to install this. So I will bring my command line over here. Okay, there are a lot of errors and something. So we are here now, finally. I will stop the server and I will quickly install these packages for our project. Now, while these packages are getting installed, we will do the required configuration so that these packages will work for us. First is to go to package.json, and here we have to change the main entry. So right now it is Expo app entry, and we will change this to this one. Okay. Second, in app.json, we have to go here in app.json, and I think we will go give after this line. Okay. Here I will put a comma and I will say or first app/scheme. Okay. Next, we don't want React DOM. We don't want to build any web application. Finally, we need to check our babel.config, babel config. Okay. And we have the presets to babel's dash preset that's expo. So we are not going to change anything over here. And now we can run this. So it will clear the cache and ready our project to be run with expo routers. Okay. So let's see how it goes. All the cache will be empty, rebuilding the app, and boom. I guess right till now we don't have any errors. Now here it is asking to connect with the metro. So I will click on the screen and double R. So it will reload the app. And here we go. So Expo router is successfully installed and it is asking us to create a app directory. Okay, that directory is missing. So previously the entry point was app.js, but after installing the Expo router, our entry will be app directory as we have created in our first video, if you remember. And here we have to create index.js. Okay. And now it is saying unmatched because index.js don't have anything for now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy everything from here because we are not using this status bar. That's why I'm not copying that. And I will go into index and I will put it over here. Okay. Now this file is no more required. So I will just remove this. Now we have some error on the screen. And these errors are coming because it is not able to find this path. Okay. Because our index file is inside app directory, we have to tell the path that we have to go outside the app directory because this src folder is outside app directory. So for that we have to give double dot slash. Now we have src folder, inside that screens folder, inside that we have home screen, right? Now save this and boom, everything is working perfectly fine as before. Okay, so I hope this worked for you as well. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a new file, and this time we are going to create that file inside the app directory, and we will name this file is maybe blog screen.js. Okay, and React Native functional component with export with style. Okay, now everything is there. Cool. I will bring the export default to bottom. Now we need to see this page when we click on the card. Now I'm going to introduce you to the events. Okay, so card, basically when we are using view, we can't use this card as for some events. Okay, and if we want to use this card as some event, we have to use some event driven components which allow us to run some events. Okay, basically the event which we need here is on press, because on mobile device we used to press it. Okay, on if you have built any web apps, you know we use on click. For mobile device we use on press. Okay, so let's go to the React Native website and let's see what are the options we have. So we have button. So button provide on press. We need something which don't show us a button, but we can use it as our card, right? So we have touchable opacity. We also have pressable. Okay, so on press in, on press out. So right now most preferable option is pressable. Okay, so I'm going to use pressable over here. Okay, and let's import this quickly from React Native. We can import it by control space and it will show you this suggestion. I will click here or enter and it will import from React Native. Okay, if I save this now, you can see there is no difference. Okay, it's still, but it is now pressable. Now we can use on press on this. So I will at the end here, I'll say on press. Now on press, we can give a callback function which will be run when user will click this, and we want to move to our blog screen, right? And for that we can use router.push. Okay, and here we have to give the component name. So the filing name is in camel case. That's why I will change the file name from this to small letter of blog. Okay, now if we go back to the card, here we can use blog screen. And where is that blog screen? At the root. That's why we will say slash blog screen and save this. Okay, and now if I click here, okay, I forgot to import this. So let's quickly import it from Expo router. Save it. And now if I click, boom, we can see blog screen. Okay, so now by converting our card into a pressable item, we can press on it and we can navigate from this screen to the blog screen. Okay, so this is done. Now we can go into blog screen and complete the remaining design. So basically our design is pretty simple. First, we have our avatar component. Save it, and we have to pass the border color, and I will colors dot first import it, colors dot coordinary, okay, and then we will have the username. Now you can see that again we are reusing this similar thing from the card. So what we can do is we can go back to the card and we can copy this and create a new component over here, and we can name this user details.js and React Native functional component export with design, and here we will quickly put it here, and now I will go back to card, and here I will copy card header and then the name style. Okay, card header and name style. I will cut it from here. I will go back to user detail, and here I will paste it. Both, I guess, the styles are applied now. We also need the color, so I'm going to import the color quickly. Fine. Now we can use this user details into card. I will remove this, and here we can bring the user details. We need to import it, control space. Okay, after that we also going to need this into the block screen, right? So I will go here, rather than using the image, I will say user details, user detail, control space, imported, and now save. Okay, avatar doesn't exist. Okay, so in user detail, we need to import the avatar component as well. Save. Go back. Okay, so I will press double R to reload. Not happening. Let's click here, so it will reload the app. Okay, it is taking a lot of time, so I will close this, and here I will click again, connect. So you see it's still showing similar because we moved this from a user detail component and imported back to the card. Okay, now if I click on this card, it is open the blog screen and it is showing the username. So that is awesome. Now in the blog screen, first of all, I will create our container style. Flex1, comma, background color. Okay, I will not use this. I will use colors dot primary or secondary. Let's see. Save. I don't know it is applied or not, but quickly check it by border width 1. Save. Let's give a color border to red into double inverted commas. It's not showing anything because we forgot to apply the style. Okay, so that's why I think it's better to apply the style first and then create your style component. Okay, now it is totally covering our screen. Now I don't need the border. I will remove this quickly. Cool. Now I need some padding from, so our components will not touch the edge of the screen. So I will say padding to 16 from all around. Okay. Now we need a view which will have some text, right? So first it will have a text of title, block title maybe, and then we will have text which will be lorem ipsum. Lorem, maybe I need 200 characters, enter. Okay, this will be enough, I guess. And let's save this. Okay, it is looking fine. I think I will need little bit more. So I will say lorem 500, enter. Now it is showing you a lot of text, but you can see we are not able to scroll it up or down, and we are going to work on that next. So first we have a lot of text, so I will quickly collapse it. Okay, now I'm going to use style equals to styles dot content container. Okay, and content container will have a background color of white, and it will have some border radius to 6, and then we will copy some shadow from our card. I will copy this, save. Okay, now we also need some spacing from around this spacing, so our content should not touch the edges of the box. So I will say padding to 16. Okay, now it is looking good enough. Fine. Next, what I'm thinking that our text should be scrollable. If there are more text which is going out of our screen, we should able to scroll it up and down. And for that, what I can do is we can use scroll view. Okay, and let's move this into scroll view. Now if we scroll, you can see it is scrolling. Okay, and we also give some style to this scroll view box. So I will say styles equals to, let's try these styles inline first. Height to be 90%. Okay, save this. Now it is fine that we are getting some space from here. I think 95 will be okay. Okay, it is too much for 92. Yeah, it is good enough. Okay. So we just have one style for this. So I think inline will be better for this. Next, we will style our block title. Style equals to styles dot title, and here I will use this suggestion. Okay, let's save this and see how it's looking better. I think we can give maybe little bit of margin for the bottom, and I think there's enough. And also I like to bring our title at the center, so I will use text align center. Now it is looking better, and I will give text size to 18 or 21. Yeah, this is good enough. Okay, we also want our user to go back. If he wants to go back to the list of the post, so what I will do is we need again some pressable component which we can use to trigger a event which will allow us to go back to the previous screen. Okay, and for that I will view content container. Below this I will use pressable. Okay, and here I will say text, I will say close. We are not able to see this because the height is too big and our button is somewhere below. Also, I need, okay, pressable is import. Let's change it to 85%. Here we go. We can see our pressable over here. So we can use pressable, or if you want to give some effects, we can also use touchable highlight. Okay, save this. Okay, we need to import this first from React Native and save this. Let's click here, and now if we give some styles to this, style equals to, let's give some style button. Okay, button style and background color primary. Okay, there are a lot of styles it already given. So let's try this, how it looks. We'll see. Okay, but this is not what I really want. So I will remove this. I think I will keep the shadow. I will remove this, these all things. Okay, save. Okay, well, here button close now. Okay, I think we should use touchable opacity, so it will give some effects. Opacity, save. Okay, let's import this quickly. Save, click. Now you can see it is giving us some effect that button is pressed. Okay, and I will do this 80. Okay, now yes, it is looking much better. And now let's style the text inside this. Button text, and color to, I think, white, font size 16, font weight bold, text align center, text transfer uppercase, latest spacing 1. Okay, so this is the suggestion which I got, and I will save this. Now it is looking like a button. Okay, it is looking beautiful. Fine. Now you might be thinking where I am getting these all suggestions. So I am using tab 9. Okay, tab 9 here. So it gives you some suggestions which you can use or you can ignore that. So sometimes I use, sometimes I don't. Okay, so our button is ready. Now we have to give on press and router dot router, and first we will import this router from Expo router, and then I will say dot. Now we can use back or dismiss, I think, or push, but I think we will use back. Okay, and if I use this, I'm back. Okay, so do I have some border for the home screen? Let's quickly check this. Home screen border width. So let me remove this because I don't like that white border over there. Now it is looking much better. So our app design is almost ready. Okay, only one last remaining screen, which is this one, and I want you to try this design. Okay, so in today's video we have learned how to create screens and create these components. Okay, in the next video we are going to create a demo server which will give this data of different users and this block text, and we will fetch the API for the data to show these cards and everything. So our blog screen is ready. Also, we have created the cards. Now your job is, whenever we click on this user or this user, you have to move this to this screen. Okay, and once you design this, you can share this on the Discord server which we have. Okay, let me show where you can share the screenshots, or you can message the, or you can share the code from the GitHub. So this is our small community. Here you can come and you can share this on project showcase. Okay, join the group and you can share that you have designed this screen. You can share the screenshot, or you can uh, push the code on GitHub. You can share the GitHub link if you like. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share you the link of this page, and you can see this design and try to create this screen, and you can use Expo icons for these icons. Okay, let me quickly show you that. If you go to, I will show you how you can use this Expo icon. So if you go here, you can, so my favorite icons are feather icons. So I will use a icon. I will use this icon. Okay, and to use this, we just have to copy this from here, and let me use this in the blog screen for our button. Okay, so here we can import it, feature icon, and then we can use it by copy this here we can put it here and save. Here you can see the icon, it is showing, not showing in the center. So quickly we will go to this style and align item to the center. Okay. Flex direction to row. Okay. And then justify content to center. Okay. And we can give some space using gap to it. Okay. Now you can change the color of the icon from here. So rather than black, I will use colors dot maybe tertiary. Okay. So now color is applied. So this is how easy it is to add some icons. Okay. So I just shown you how you can add the icons. Okay. And I guess by following today's video, you can easily create the screen. Okay. And also remember that you can use negative value whenever you want to bring one component on other. Like this one, we have a box and we are bringing our user avatar on this box. So for that you can use some negative value to bring it over this box. Okay. And I think that's it. You can just create this demo button for now, and in the next video we are going to integrate our app with the APIs and bring some real data to the app and make our app live. Okay, basically we are not going to put it on the Play Store, but once we connect this with the backend, our app is kind of a real app. So we are going to learn those things in the next video, like integrating APIs, using the state, passing the data using the props. Okay, so it will be a fun video. So if you like this video and if you have learned something from this video today, please don't forget to like, comment. You can join our Discord server to ask any questions and I will be happy to help you. Till then, take care, keep learning.